Firstly, welcoming you all today for our session on advanced placements. I'll be taking you through with every aspect behind it, the organization that has created APs, what's the logic behind doing them, how do you select APs, and we'll be looking at even the course material, the kind of AP selections that you do have available, various checkpoints and milestones that you should be looking across during your whole journey within advanced placements. So without further ado, I'm now giving you a quick look at the session roadmap that we'll be running today, where I'll give you a good understanding of what an AP is. We'll go through the structure, all the different kind of AP courses available, why is it important, choosing the right ones, and as I have said, the AP checkpoints and milestones. At the same time, I'll give you an understanding of the digital AP, how AP is now moving forward, and what is typically changing across in terms of AP itself. And as we always do in all of our sessions, our approach in how do we tackle the whole issue around APs, and then lastly concluding the session off with various resources that we do share in all of our sessions. Now, without further ado, just firstly getting this other introduction of the introduction of the organization, which is conducting the event today. So let's Unbound began with a focus on skill building, empowering elementary and middle school students with STEM, life skills, and mentorship. And as these students then progressed to high school, they started seeking out for college admission guidance. And that's where we listened. We evolved our services to really seamlessly integrate the storytelling through applications with our already well established mentoring program. Now, by combining personalized learning, skill development, and strategic admission support, we now guide students from early academic years to top global universities. Today, we have impacted more than 4,000 students across 25 countries, delivering more than 125,000 hours of expert mentoring. We are really proud to have partnered with organizations at STEM.org, Harvard Students Agencies, Arizona State University Prep Digital, which really ensures that the students that we work with receive world-class educational experiences. So at Let's Unbound, we don't just prepare students for exams or admissions, we largely prepare them for their actual undergraduation life and life beyond undergrads itself. Now, the visionaries behind our organization, so just have a quick look over their profile before we really dive deeper into today's session. So on your left, you have Amol Patil, who's a serial entrepreneur. He's an education visionary with experiences at Tata and Exceed, which is India's largest edtech platform. Amol has helped scale impactful educational solutions across 2,000 schools in 6 countries, impacting more than 250,000 students. He's known for his ability to blend business thinking with on-ground school realities and has been instrumental in helping startups from IIT Bombay and beyond succeed in the education space. On your right, we have Professor Nishant Chawla, a mentor, an educator, really the brains behind many of the learning pathways that we share with our students, and many of those thoughts around APs that we'll be even sharing today itself. With 14 years plus experience across academia, industry, he's counseled more than 1,000 students and has designed curriculum solutions right from K-12 to executive MBA programs. He's an alumnus of SP Jan, a top-rated teacher, a proud mentor of change under Atal Innovation Mission Niti Aayog. So together, their combined experience and vision have really shaped up the approach that we bring to college counseling, personalized, practical, and actually future ready. Now, giving you a quick background about myself. So I am the third founder within the organization. I've got 12 plus years of experience within consultancy, within investment and ed tech. I have represented organizations, international organizations as Jaguar Land Rover, Citibank, and Standard Chartered. And I've also worked with Crimson Education and added education within the education space. So that's my quick background within the industry itself. Now, let's just move across to the topic at hand, which is going to be first starting about APs in themselves, like what are APs? So AP or the Advanced Placement Courses, it's a program that has been developed by the College Board and that gives high school students the incredible opportunity to take US undergraduation level classes while being still here at school. So what are the primary things or the main pillars that keeps this whole AP aspect standing? So one of those primary things is your academic challenge and preparation for higher education. AP courses provide you with the opportunity to tackle challenging material that typically mirrors the rigor not of school level. It doesn't represent, let's say, an international board level education, but it's going to really represent the rigors of college level coursework. Isn't just about, let's say, mastering a subject. It's actually about preparing you for those intellectual demands or the critical thinking required for higher undergraduation education, and very much focused within USA itself. By engaging with all of these complex topics early, you really building a strong foundation for future academic success in undergraduation. It also gives you an opportunity to earn college credits, or as it says, advanced placement courses completed. Another, and this, really becomes one of a very strong advantage, which is actually connected from point number one. Since an AP is an undergraduation level course, it gives you those college credits. So that other advantage that I'll be talking about AP courses is the chance to earn credits or secure, those the timing before that you're even getting into USA. So excelling on an AP exam can really translate into credits that might reduce your college load, save you money, or even allow you to bypass introductory courses once you're on campus. This benefits not only accelerates your academic journey, but also eases the whole transition into college life itself. Sorry. Thirdly, it's a competitive edge in the college admissions journey. So finally, AP courses will give you a very good competitive edge during the college admissions process. Colleges recognize that students who have taken AP courses are really ready to handle rigorous coursework. Your performances in these classes sends a powerful message to admission committees that you're motivated, you are capable, and are prepared for the challenges of this higher education. This can also set you apart from other applicants in today's competitive landscape. So as we move through today's session, keep these 3 points in mind: that AP courses aren't just about earning a grade, they're about really embracing a challenge, opening doors to future academic opportunities, and positioning yourself as a strong candidate for top universities. So let's really dive deeper into all of these different areas of why APs are now important. So now moving on to the next slide, as you can see on your screen, we'll be really looking at why are these APs really important. So let's begin by discussing that first point on your screen, which is your earn college credit. So AP exams offer a chance to earn college credits even before you set your foot on campus. This means that you could potentially, as I've just said in the previous slide, skip introductory courses. And if you're not skipping courses, you could also graduate early. It gives you a significant head start in your college journey. Then moving across, it helps you to build a profile for your college admissions themselves. So when you enroll for AP courses, you're really demonstrating your willingness to take on rigorous academic challenges around the area that you're interested. So this not only strengthens, for example, your academic profile, but it also signals to the college admissions committee that you're prepared for the demands of undergrad education. Thirdly, it is a very good cost saving option. It will help you save on tuition fees. So earning your college credits through AP courses can reduce, as again, the number of courses that you might need to take once you're in the States. This translates directly into cost saving on your tuition fees, a very significant component on this whole expense, which makes your college even much more affordable. Apart from that, it does also enable you to graduate early. So with enough AP credits, you might be able to finish your undergraduation, let's say in 3.5 years, which also then increases on another aspect of your cost saving, that your extra 6 months of residing in America before you move on for your job opportunities is also getting shortened. And at the same time, you also do get time for internships and other research projects that you may be typically interested in. So all of these various factors are really crucial for you to understand why APs have become all this so important. So just me a minute, I'll have a glass of water. I'm just sorry, it's just the Delhi dry weather has given me a bit of a dry throat. So I'll be taking a couple of breaks here and there just to have a sip of water. Now, moving on to the next topic, which is to now look at the various AP courses that are available. So there are 7 categories in which you can be selecting your APs from. The first four that you can see on your screen, the ones that I've put there, are largely humanity based. So you've got three options available in art, which would be AP Art and Design, 2D, 3D drawing, AP Music Theory, AP Art History, moving into two APs of English. And then you've got a good amount of selections. I think if I'm not wrong, eight selections from your history and social sciences, while two are there in your interdisciplinary. Along with that, you've got a good choice of STEM-based APs that you could also select between your sciences and your maths and computer sciences options. And largely, when you talk about your maths option, you're really looking at this calculus, pre-calculus, calculus AB, calculus BC. Then you could also look at AP statistics. Along in that same bracket, you do have two APs within computer science that you could be looking out for. Now, at the same time, a lot of kids, even though this being put in your, history and social sciences, kids who have got a good interest with maths and economics is a maths-based subject, you could also be looking at these two various APs. Along with that, you have a whole list of opportunity for all of those students who have been learning a third language over years could be looking at one of these various APs. But just to put as an example, AP German is equivalent to almost German B2 if you have been studying the direct German course from the counselor. Now, this is the various opportunities that you do have in terms of selecting various APs. Now, this brings us to this point. How do you actually make this choice? How do you actually select which AP you should be going through? So overall, we have created this list of 5 points that every student should be, having a quick look over while you're going to be deciding which AP you should be going for. Now, the first point that a lot of parents or kids are largely looking across at, it is your AP score distribution. So I'll just quickly give you a quick look at this one website that you could be seeing in terms of deciding which is the AP that you could be selecting in terms of what were the grades that these APs were getting. So I'll be defining you what a 5 out of a 5 means, but it's just to show you that while you're making this selection of which AP to go, it's really wise that you come across to this website and have a quick look in terms of last year, what are the results that students got a 5 out of 5 on? So, you've got 15% students getting a 5 out of 5 in AP research. You could see these percentages really do go up to 19%, 18% when you're looking at macroeconomics. Within maths, you see this jumps up to 44% as well. Computer science principle stays at 25%. So while you're deciding which AP to go, it's really wise to look up and see what are the opportunities for you to actually get a full score on it. What's the chance of you to get a 5 out of a 5? Because largely you want to be showing and taking up those APs where you have got maximum, chances of you getting a good score. So doing or looking at the score distribution as one of those first things before you select your AP is really one of those things that we do advise all of our students in. Now, after that, you have looked obviously at the AP score distribution, and almost parallelly, you're also wanting to consider your own career goals. So many students tend to pick, AP subjects based on what their friends are, taking, or what someone else has suggested, or what they've heard a student taking and then getting admitted into a university. However, if you're already identified your career goals and let's say a college major that you may be taking, it's best to choose an AP course that directly supports your academic journey. So, for example, if you're interested in engineering, AP Calculus, Pre-Calculus, AP Calculus, BC, AB, you've got AP Physics C as well, Mechanics, all of them will make quite much sense. So, if you look into the presentation now, that's one bucket that we have created around for students on your engineers on the left side, where you could look at AP calculus, you could look at AP physics, mechanics, exactly the ones that I was talking about, AP calculus, AB and BC, and you could also complement this with environmental sciences. On your right, you have got some other APs that students that are interested in being a financial analyst, those are the typical APs you could look at. So I'm just leaving this on your screen for a couple of seconds for you to. Now, apart from this, a couple of examples, even let's say within your humanity-based streams, that you could, if you're looking at a degree within law, if you're looking a degree within art, these are the ones that you could be largely focusing across on. Now, moving across to the next part, of, choosing those right APs. So the first two things that we have discussed is the score distribution of the previous years. And over the last two slides, I've just given you four different kind of professions that you may be interested in and how you could make this selection. As a matter of fact, what you could do, you could go onto College Board website, and I'm just going onto the chat section and I'm dropping you the link that you could use just to decipher a little bit more in terms of which AP you would be largely selecting from. Also, just to leave you with another link behind the first document that I was showing you in terms from College Board, which had all of the results for the last year. You could also use the secondary link that I've just dropped onto the chat section for you to access and see the scores for the previous years. Now, this brings us now to the third point, which is the college credit policy. So when choosing a college, and while choosing an AP, let's suppose if you're trying to run this on a parallel, or if you're in ninth or 10th, you try to look at the bracket of colleges that you're going to be applying for. Then you should actually go to the AP's official website and try to find the number of colleges accepting the AP course that you're applying for on the first place. And then what is the minimum score requirement for you before you will be given those college credits? So, for example, I am just sharing another slide on your screen. If you could just give it a second. So, if you access this various website, and for example, if you go to Calculus AB as one of those courses that you would like to do, you can have a look at different universities on how do they exactly rank it. So for example, if you have done Calculus AB, you would need to score a 5 out of a 5 in Calculus AB before Stanford would be considering that score. So the number of credits that you would be getting for Calculus AB within Stanford, if you get a 5 out of 5, are 6 credits. And the equivalent courses of this AP Calculus is 19 to 20. And likewise for Stanford, you could also see all of the other various number of credits that you would be requiring before, sorry, the number of minimum score that you require in each AP and the number of credits that score would be earning you. Just 1 second again. If you could just give me a second and you could just have a look into the screen and all of those various APs that are there and the scores that you could get. 1 second. Yeah, sorry for the disturbance. It's just the dry throat, so I quickly got up for a quick medication. Now, moving back to the topic of in terms of how we are selecting our APs. So now we have gone over the third point that you should be looking at the kind of universities that you're applying for. See the AP minimum score that is required from each of those universities and also understand how many credits would you be getting. And at the same time, the college would also tell you the kind of courses that you can omit since that you have gone for this AP itself. Now, the fourth point that you should also be thinking across is the balance and manageability. So know your capacity to, the amount of load that you would like to take on at any time. Thus, on one hand, it is great to set goals high to achieve personal growth and understanding over the topic. But on the other hand, it's really crucial to keep a healthy working schedule so you're not getting exhausted. It is really advised that you take anywhere between 3 to 5 APs during your high school years because you are then categorized into different categories. If you're doing 3 APs and you're getting three over more than three in all three of them, you are considered an AP scholar. By the time that you do the fifth one, it's also called AP merit, where you have done 5 and have gotten at least 3 or 4 in all 5 of them. So it's very advisable to look at 3 to 5 APs before you do end up applying, but at the same time, do look at balance and manageability. For all of those students that really want to use this for your college credit policies, I'll suggest by the year that you're applying, don't go more than 5. And in your 12th year, you could always do an extra 2 or 3 APs. So you could really increase your college credit policies. But for keeping APs within the admission zone, 3 to 5 APs would be more than enough. And lastly, choose an AP that will help you really broaden your narrative. So that's one of those last reasons that I really tell students to be looking across at. So AP exams really does contribute to generating a more diverse story about yourself, and it demonstrates interest beyond the core curriculum that you may have opted in your school. So for example, you're a student who's interested in computer science, maths, and economics, but could also be taking a psychology AP. You could be taking a history AP. You could be taking an AP within languages as well. So it really does give you a broadened profile, a broadened narrative, which a lot of various universities are definitely interested in. Now, beyond how you choose an AP, going through all of these 5 various points, we're now moving on to the next topic of what are the important AP checkpoints and milestones that you should be looking at. So your AP decisions are very crucial right from the month of October till mid-March. And I'm talking for all of the kids that have at least gotten into grade 9. Kids that are younger than grade 9 itself, you don't need to look at it for this year. But for kids from grade 9 and beyond, I would suggest by October, you should have the APs that you would like to apply this year. Because your regular registration for AP, approximately $128 for international students per exam, is going to be running between October till mid-November. From mid-November to March itself, you would be paying an extra $40 per examination as late registration. Normally, we look at the whole winter time period, really accelerating from your November, December, moving up to your March and April, where you're doing your final review. That's your preparation time. Where in May, every year, second week, when your exams are scheduled. One of my primary things that I do always tell students, make sure that you're registering as early as possible, because you have to go to an AP center. And if you're delaying this, you may have to travel longer distances just to get to an AP center that would be offering the AP that you're interested in. So make sure, apart from the whole fact of late registration, occupancy within your different test centers do also fill up very fast. So these are your most important years while you'll be looking across within your AP aspect. Now, understanding the whole structure of APs itself, so the duration, it's 2 to 3 hours. AP exams are designed to comprehensively test your knowledge and skills in a subject, but most exams, as I've said, do last between 2 to 3 hours, making them shorter than your typical college exams, but equally rigorous and extremely more practical. The time is divided into two main sections, each testing different skills. So the two sections that you do have, and I'm saying this, so every AP exam with those two sections would be ranging between, let's say, part one of multiple choices, part two of the free response. So this structure really ensures a balanced evaluation, testing both your knowledge and application. So with part one, which is your multiple choices, the format is a series of questions with 4 to 5 options per question. The focus area here is to test your factual knowledge, your comprehension, and problem solving speed. This requires precision and strong grasp of the curriculum content. Normally, the tips that I'll say for this part would be, practice eliminating the incorrect answers to improve your accuracy. A lot of our mentors do talk about that. And time management is really crucial. So don't spend too long on any single question. Part two, which is the free response. The format is open-ended questions, essays, problem-solving tasks dependent on the subject. The focus area is really to measure your overall analytical thinking, argumentation, and the ability to really apply the knowledge. It requires clear, structured, and well-reasoned responses. The tip for success here would be, really practice your writing to be concise and direct under timed condition. Try to show your work and thought process even if the final answer isn't perfect. Review sample responses provided by College Board before you're really getting into this AP subject. So how concise you need to be, how elaborative that you need to be. Reviewing all of those samples would be really perfect. Overall, the key takeaway that I'll be really putting across, in this aspect is balance is the key. Prepare for both sections equally. Don't focus over just one at the expense of the other. And what you really need to think across is strategic preparation. So multiple choice tests your breadth of knowledge, while the free response evaluates your depth and understanding and application. So use practical exams to really familiarize yourself with the different kind of formats. Now, moving on to the next point, the scoring. And as I said, I'll just be explaining you how do these scorings work. Your scorings are running from 1 to 5, where 5 out of a 5 is not a percentage score, it's a band score. So overall, what you could understand, that is largely an A plus, or let's say 90 to 100% is when you'll be getting a 5 out of a 5. A 4 out of 5 is well qualified, normally around an A, 75 to 89%. 3 then becomes qualified around B, 45 to 74%. 2 out of a 5 is C, which is 30 to 44%. 1 is no, recommended below 30%. The least that we expect for any student to get is 3, and we really desire you to be around at least 4s and 5s in all of those 3 to 5 APs that we'll be representing across. Now, when do you apply and when do you take the exam? So your enrollment largely August to September. Students typically enroll in AP courses at the beginning of the academic year, which is around your August to September, dependent on, obviously the school schedule. The registration would then be happening between October to November. The College Board requires, students to register for the AP exams in the fall semester, usually mid-November. Late registration is allowed, but again, as I've said, will be with additional fees. Your preparation time could be running anyway, starting across from September, October, whenever you've decided on your AP, all the way up till your April. And then May is the date when you would be, mid-May would be when you'll be examining for the APs themselves. And by July, you could expect the results to come through. And it's normally around the early July time period. So that's the overall structure of an AP. Now we're just moving on to the next topic, which is to really look at the digital AP. So what is happening around in this whole area? SAT had gone digital much before. Now it has become the time for APs to be following the same suit. So there are some exams that are going completely or fully digital, where some of them being AP computer science principles. This is going to be a full digital and has been fully digital since its launch. It really focuses on project-based assessments and digital submissions of the create task. Apart from that, your AP seminar, part of your AP capstone program, this includes performance task and digital exam component. AP research itself is also another one that is, going to be completely or fully digital. And then you'll have AP Environmental Sciences, which has gone, fully digital from the year of 2023. Now, the hybrid examinations, quite a lot of them. So you've got AP English Literature and Composition, both of them. The other AP English Literature and Composition is also there, apart from language and composition. You've got AP US history that is on a hybrid model, world history as well, European history, macroeconomics, microeconomics. So all of these are currently on that hybrid model. The few APs that are being planned to move across onto that digital way, there's your calculus AB, BC, biology, physics, statistics. So I think by this year they would also be going across as digital. Now, what's changing in the digital format itself? So digital APs aren't just paper test. They are now really moving on an online method. They bring in new features designed to enhance your testing experience. So here's what you really need to know. There's now flexibility in your testing location. With digital exams, you might have an option to even take this test within your school or at a specific testing center, and increasing those amount of testing centers. Why does it really matter? So you could choose a setting where you feel the most comfortable and most focused. It will also have adaptive timing and navigation. So unlike traditional exams where you have to move question by question, digital AP exams may allow you to, really, let's say, flag the first question and return back to it later at a later junction. You could really adjust the pace at which you would want to answer, and it really ensures your to maximize your scores. Apart from that, it is now getting integrated tools. So on-screen calculators for subjects like AP Calculus, AP Statistics. You have highlighting tools to mark important sections in your reading passages. You may have scratch pads for jotting down notes or calculations digitally. So you then would be able to save time flipping pages or handling multiple physical tools, focusing instead on answering the questions with as efficiently as possible. It also does enhances security measures. So digital exams use advanced security protocols, aid to prevent cheating, right? Obviously lockdown of browsers that restrict access to website. It also does make sure, unlike the physical papers, your answers and response sheets are now much more safe in that way. Now we're moving across to the third part of our session today, which is the approach that we largely take in terms of preparing students for APs. So we always do start across, even as we do start them in terms of, let's say, your SAT papers, we always do start off with a diagnostic session and trying to understand your current stand in APs itself, where we then use that to create a complete personalized study plan. And we do give our all our teaching was on one-on-one live method, and you'd be getting your exclusive strategy sessions, really understanding in between that whole division between the two sections, how to really target your multiple choice sections in a different way from how you'll be looking at your free response section as well, giving you all of those strategic level advisories. At the same time, we'll be giving you as many as sectional and full length mock tests that would be really putting you on the right gear for these exams. So how do you prepare for these digital exams, and how do we believe that you should be taking this forward? Obviously, you do start off with, conducting a diagnostic test and understanding your current status. And then you move on to the next part, which we really focus and say, practice it on a digital platform. Make the most of practice tests, which are also provided by College Board, the Blue Book app. These simulations help you to get used to the interface. They help you to understand how tools like highlighting and flagging work. They build confidence for your actual exam day itself. Then move on from there to trying to understand the whole test structure. Familiarize yourself with each format. Each AP, as you know, commonly includes, as I've explained, the MCQs and the free response section. Changes to the format will really assist you to keep the time in the right way possible. And lastly, practice with as many as past papers possible. Moving on to the next part, as we always do say, the main three pillars, as we have felt with all of your examinations, is always accuracy, speed, and then lastly, your exam strategy and stamina. Now, what does it take to get into top university? So this is the three kind of pillars that we largely work across on, where the first pillar being your academic and test prep, moving on to profile building and your admission prep itself. So we do give you complete support when it comes to leadership, your club, sports and hobbies, passion projects, community service, internships and research, and obviously during your examination years when you'll be looking at your SAT and SAP and your APs themselves. Now, beyond this, going back in terms of what the whole AP lab is, the platform that you'll be using while preparing APs through us, we give you that whole personalized attention. We've created this through the decades of research, working with students across AP for the last almost a decade. Uh, to give you a look at how our AP program in its comprehensive sense looks like, you'll be working anywhere between 90 to 100 hours of foundation prep strategy and live mock, in which 40 to 50 hours will be contact hours of live tutoring and mock test analysis. And you'll be also getting 50 hours of self-learning hours, which are basically notes and various practice tests. These are the other various programs that you could access through with Let's Unbound, right from elementary school to your high school levels. Now, just to show you a couple of success stories about students that, who have worked with us in terms of an AP, and, a grade 11 student who had joined us with minimal Java experience and reached out just 3 months before your AP CSA. With the work that we then put in, he got a 4 out of 5 on the AP computer science exam. Another quick example of mastering your psychological theories, a student who had just joined us a couple of months before had, we helped them master the material and improve their recall. And the student ended up scoring a 5 on AP psychology within 60 days. Right. So these are just quick examples of those various success stories that we have had over the past. Now, just to share across the various resources, you could use the QR code now on your screen to take an AP diagnostic test that we could let you understand which are the best APs for you in terms of results and grades that you would be getting across. And every weekend, as you know, you will be knowing, we conduct different aspects around US admission. So this week, we were looking across at APs themselves. So do join us as well next weekend on a different topic that we'll be taking. You could also access our newsletters through our platform, which I'll also just put in the link on our chat section so you can access it. Right, so I've just put in the next link as well. You could also just use these two QR codes to either access the YouTube videos in terms of extracurriculars, and you could also use the QR code in terms of WhatsApp. Now, moving across to the last slide, in which you could also just register with us, and we would then give you a good understanding of which kind of APs and do a one-on-one session with us. So that's the last part of my presentation today. I'll be just using the AP, the Q&A or the chat section for the questions that you would be having. Right. For any, let's say URLs that weren't working, you could just contact us post the event and we'd be sharing them to you one-on-one. If there are any other questions on the presentation itself, I'll be just taking them up now, or we could conclude today's session. Right. So I don't believe there are many questions today. So we're just concluding out for our presentation. Thank you for joining with Professor Cross and hope to see you the next weekend. Thank you.